When you think about the great landmarks of the world, the pyramids, the Colosseum, the Eiffel Tower, you see these incredible symbols of culture and history. But have you ever stopped to wonder what they're actually worth? I don't just mean culturally. I mean in cold, hard cash. Okay, let's dive into this. Because the answer, well, it tells a really fascinating story about how we value our past and how we need to plan for its future.
So let's start with what is arguably the most famous silhouette on the entire planet, the Eiffel Tower. I mean, it's so much more than just a pile of iron and rivets, isn't it? It's a global icon, it's the very symbol of Paris, and as it turns out, it's a massive, massive economic engine. So, back in 2012, a report came out that tried to calculate its value to the French economy, and the number they landed on was this: 435 billion euros. Just let that sink in. It is an almost unbelievably huge number, one that just dwarfs any other monument on the planet. But that really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is a number like that, no matter how big, the true measure of a landmark's worth? Can you really, honestly put a price tag on history, on identity, on a piece of our collective soul? This massive figure, it forces us to ask a really core question. What does value truly mean when we're talking about heritage? And the answer has some very real-world consequences for how we protect these incredible sites. And if you're trying to wrap your head around just how big 435 billion euros is, try this on for size. At the time of that report, it was calculated to be nearly a fifth of France's entire annual economic output. It's so big it almost sounds fake, but it just highlights how much is really at stake here. But here's the thing. All that success, all that value, it comes at a cost, a very real physical cost. In a lot of ways, the Eiffel Tower is a victim of its own success. It's an icon that is under just immense pressure. Every single year, 30 million people flock to this one spot. Now, only about 7 million of them actually go up the tower, but the sheer volume of humanity that descends on this area puts an enormous strain on the tower and everything around it. And that popularity has a downside. I mean, the experience for millions of people is often spoiled by just crushing crowds. The gardens get trampled, accessibility is a huge challenge, and the whole area just feels, well, overwhelmed. It's almost loved to death. And this slide just says it all, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the tower when it was first built, a temporary marvel for an exhibition that was only supposed to last 20 years. And on the right, today's reality, a permanent global pilgrimage site packed with people. The contrast is just wow. And beyond the crowds, there's this constant, grinding battle with the elements. To keep the iron from literally rusting away, the entire tower has to be repainted by hand every 7 years. Think about that. It's this monumental task that takes over a year, needs 60 tons of paint, and is all done by a small team of 25 specialists. And this picture really brings those numbers to life. These aren't robots up there. They are skilled artisans, clinging to the structure hundreds of meters in the air with just a harness and a paintbrush. It's this incredible tradition of manual craftsmanship that has kept the tower standing for more than a century. And this wasn't some new problem they just figured out. Gustave Eiffel, the man himself, knew this from day one. He knew that this continuous fight against rust was the secret to the tower's long life. He said it himself. The painting is everything. The better the paint job, the longer it's going to last. So you're faced with 21st century crowds and this relentless corrosion. How in the world do you secure the future for this 19th century icon? Well, the answer is to completely reimagine its surroundings. And this is the vision. It's a hugely ambitious project called One. The whole idea is to create one massive unified green space. We're talking 54 hectares that stretches all the way from the Trocadero, across the river, to the École Militaire. It's about creating this single, breathtaking landscape that can better handle all the people and, just give the tower itself some room to breathe. A really cool part of this plan is what they're doing with the Pont Diana, the bridge right in front of the tower. They're basically turning it into a green promenade. This is huge because it tackles the overcrowding head-on by putting people before cars and creating a much safer and way more pleasant journey as you walk up to the monument. And the transformation keeps going right under those famous arches. This space is becoming a lush, planted landscape, which is a direct solution to those overwhelmed, trampled gardens we saw earlier. Just imagine walking through greenery right at the base, instead of the crowded, hard-packed dirt that's there today. It's a total game changer for the visitor experience.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. The challenges facing the Eiffel Tower, balancing tourism with preservation, economic value with cultural integrity, these are not unique to Paris. Not at all. This is part of a global conversation about how we manage our shared heritage.
An archaeology conference on this very topic pointed out a really crucial distinction. See, when we talk about development around heritage sites in the West, we usually mean things like quality of life and community pride. But in much of the developing world, development means something way more fundamental: money and basic survival. The stakes can be very, very different depending on where you are. But no matter the context, a universal truth seems to pop up. As archaeologist Alexander Herrera put it so perfectly, the ultimate purpose of these sites is to bring people together. That's exactly what the Paris redesign is aiming for, and it's a principle that really applies everywhere.
So what does this all mean for the future of our past? What are the big lessons we can take away from the story of the Eiffel Tower and this whole global heritage debate? Well, experts have kind of boiled it down to 7 key areas you have to get right. It's never just one thing. It's this delicate balance of everything from government policy and tourism to getting the community involved and making sure the whole thing is sustainable for the long haul. Every single piece is crucial. And this right here is probably the most important point of all. Our heritage isn't something to be locked away behind glass. It's a living, breathing, dynamic resource. And just like the Eiffel Tower needs that fresh coat of paint every 7 years, all of our heritage sites need constant care, constant adaptation, and a real long-term perspective if they're going to thrive. We look at a landmark like this and we see something permanent, something timeless. But its survival isn't an accident. It's the result of continuous, painstaking work, of recognizing that the past doesn't just preserve itself. We have to actively build its future. Which leaves us with this one final thought to chew on. The people who created these magnificent structures, they built them to endure for ages. The question for our generation is, are our plans for their future, our stewardship, our investments, our vision, are we building a future that's also meant to last?